Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Richard Ouzounian. My next guest has considerable experience with candelabra, both from having sung with Liberace and from currently working as the Phantom of the Opera here in Toronto. He's had an incredible career. We'll try to touch on some of the many highlights of it in the next half hour, but it's going to be busy because for a young man, he's done an awful lot. This dialogue is with Rene Simard. Rene, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's nice to have you here. I guess I want to start in the present, and then we'll go back to the past.
Cool.
How did you get to do the Phantom of the Opera?
Well, I had to do auditions, you see, and which is wonderful. And so I had to audition in Toronto, and then I went to New York to audition again because they have to approve who has to do the Phantom.
Right.
And so I went there, and they seemed to be receptive of what I done, and here I am. The French Phantom.
The French Phantom? Had you ever seen it before you auditioned for it?
Yes, I did. 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, twice here in Toronto and once in New York.
Now, the question I'm going to ask is that, I mean, I can see the romantic side of the Phantom appealing to you, but people will find it hard to think of Rene Simard as a villain. Why did you want to play the darker side of the Phantom as well?
I think it's wonderful to explore that side of the Phantom. I think we can talk, when we think about the Phantom, we also think about love. We also think about, well, he knows about hate because his mother didn't like him that much. And, but love, see, he doesn't know about love. He doesn't know how to deal with it. He's got control of his whole environment. But the problem is that he hates to deal with love because he doesn't have control on Christine. And what he's feeling toward Christine. And that is so interesting. So what I'm wishing is that people are going to see through that hate and love and to see that the Phantom is finally a human being, but a strange human being.
Are you getting any license to play the part in your own way at all?
You know what? That surprises me because, of course, there's, you know, big thing that we have to respect because Mr. Prince has done a wonderful show, and I wouldn't dare, you know, trying to change it. But I think my personality has to show through it. And I think I'm going to have a wonderful time being a villain and a wonderful time to try to be a good lover to Christine. And I think up till now has been a wonderful way for me to explore so many avenues. The problem when you're doing as an actor is you have to make the right choices. See, you have to explore, and then you have to go back and say, well, what do I really want to know about him in that particular moment? And so, and I'm working with Barbara Smith, who is wonderful, so calm, so she directs me, and she's wonderful. Everybody has been wonderful to me up till now.
Now, this is going to be the first stage role that you've done at length outside of Jeanne d'Arc, which we'll come back to, in English. Is that at all a challenge? I mean, I know you've been performing in English for your lifetime.
It is, yes. The last time I was here in Toronto was with Liberace, you know, at the O'Keeffe Center. That time it's called the O'Keeffe
Now
Center.
It's the Hummingbird Center.
Yeah, I know. And it is a challenge. Vocally, and especially, it's not my native tongue. So I really had to work on this, and I worked real hard, and I'm still working real hard. I'm scared to death, but I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
What do you feel like coming into a show like Phantom that has been running in Toronto for almost 10 years?
First of all, it's an honor that these people are trusting me, and it's so great just to be a part of the end of it, because you know, some people are sad because it's closing. Well, let me tell you. 10 years of the same show here in town is phenomenal. So I think it was a wonderful happening for Toronto, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. Yeah.
I want to go back and look at all of the Rene Simard career, and then we'll come back to Phantom again. You started out, you were one of what, 7 children?
Yes,
Seven children in Chicoutimi?
My mother got 9. She lost 2 at birth.
Ah, okay.
But she got 9, you know. It's something.
So a big family.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, all healthy
in
people.
Small town Quebec.
Yeah, small town.
Now I hear you first came into prominence. You did a talent contest, but who decided to put you in that? And
my mother.
Your mother.
My father didn't want.
He didn't want you to?
No, he said, no, don't go into show business, my kid. No, you mustn't go there. You know, people are funny, you know, like. So, but my mother said, no, he has to go. He has a voice. He has to share it with
So you've been, do you remember the first time you ever started singing as a little boy?
Oh, yes, in choir. You know,
okay.
I was the church, and so it was great memories. You know, if I had to start it all over again, I think I would jump into it.
So you have no regrets about starting so young?
No. What was hard was the transition between the young little guy, 9 years old, and then my voice changed. It wasn't as appealing as it used to be, you know, and you change and everything. So, but after that, I think there's, you know, I had to work on this a lot, and psychologically.
Yeah, I was going to say, you went through a couple of changes because you went from being the little boy, the petit Simard, and then you became, you were a teenage idol for a while.
Yes, yes.
Might as well
I was.
I know. You might as well do what they say in the newspapers. We'll do complete disclosure is that you and I did work together, was it 23 years ago on your television show out in English Canada out in Vancouver. We were both much younger, don't worry about that.
Exactly, he's right.
But there you were as a teen idol, and I remember all the girls would surround you and scream and cheer.
Yes.
What kind of psychological thing did that do to you?
I'm sorry to say, nothing much.
Really?
It was great. I loved every minute of it. And after that, I went back to Quebec, and I got married, and it's another story. It's completely different. And now what I love to do, you know, when I work in Quebec, I do a lot of course, TV work, but not only in front of the camera, also behind. I'm the artistic director of some TV shows in Quebec, and I love it, you know. I think television is so wonderful when it's nicely done and you use in a proper way the tools you have and to communicate something. So it's
all those years you were having to tour around the world, because there was a lot of time when I remember you were in Japan and you were in America and you were all over the place.
I did so many tours in Japan.
Yeah, I know.
Nihongo wa karimasu ka ne? Ah, so desu ne. Arigatou gozaimashita. Higashimaru ne, shimaru desu.
You still remember it all?
Oh, yes, I do. Japan was so wonderful, the mentality there. The people are so polite. And every time I was, you know, after a show, I had gifts. You wouldn't imagine. Cameras, Nikon, you know, Nikon. Nikon.
Right.
It was unbelievable. And electric trains, because I had, you know, I was 12 years old then. So, and I had flowers. So every time I was going back, you know, to my hotel room with a bunch of gifts, and it was wonderful. So I got that chance to see so much of the world, you know, instead of being just a student and see it on the you know, in my books. I just saw it with my own eyes, and I was that lucky. And
was there ever a problem? I mean, I know you later went on and did a lot of songs with one of your sister. You did recordings and stuff with Natalie.
Yes.
But there you are, one of the 7 kids is going all over the world and getting the cameras and the train sets, and the other 6 are back home and not doing it. Did that ever create tension?
No. I think we have such a wonderful family spirit at home. No, they've always encouraged me, and it's, I don't know what to say. They're so wonderful to me.
So there was never any kind of a tension with you being successful?
Never.
That's very rare, you know.
I know it is, and I love them all, you know.
And your family life is still very important to you?
Oh yes, my family life. You're talking my wife and my kids? Oh, of course. I have 2 wonderful children, Olivier and Rosalie. I have a great wife. Her name is Marie-Josée. She has a cooking show. Ah, yes. Okay. She has been doing it for 10 years back in Quebec with her mother. But it's her last year. Now she wants to, I think she has to, she needs to change. She has other plans. So I think it's good after 10 years to change it.
You know what I'm so curious about is we see what happened to a lot of the Americans who were in your position. You know, the people like David Cassidy and that who were teen idols. The stories are all rather sad. There was drugs, they had mental breakdowns, they lost all their money. You avoided all of that. How did you do that?
I think I had great people. I got the chance to have a wonderful environment, and the people whom I worked with were, I not only worked with them, I was loved by them, and I'm still with them. They're really close to me. So I think it's a question of not being alone and to have good people to tell you what the good choice you have to make. I think we need real friends in this business, which is unusual. And I got lucky. That's all I have to say. I really got lucky.
What happens to you when you're not performing? Like, what does Rene Simard do on
I
his
take
day
care of my
off?
children. I just love to go skiing. We're going to go to Walt Disney World this coming June, and you know, we're just like a normal family, and we're having fun. And well, they still go to school, and they're working really hard. My two children are hearing impaired, so it was hard at first, but now they got the cochlear implant, the
Right.
surgery, and it helps them in a wonderful way. What a great tool. And but they're funny, you know, they're not into their deaf world, and they're really funny little guys. They have the sense of of timing, and they're really, they make me laugh.
Can they hear you audibly at all, or do you
Yes,
have to
they
communicate
can hear me,
with
but it's nothing like your hearing or mine.
Do
It's
you have to
completely
sign with them?
different.
Or?
At first, yes, I had to sign. My wife and I will learn the sign language, you know. And but now we are not using that way of communicate with them, because we have to maximize on their hearing. So and they're doing wonderfully. Every day is a progress. So it's so far so good.
What do they feel about music?
They feel the bass.
Right.
Yeah, they feel that. They feel, but they think I'm funny because sometimes I'm rehearsing something and they don't have their implant. So what they see is, and they look at me. You're funny, Daddy. You know. So no, they're really great, and they're very excited about the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
And they're gonna come here, and I'm so anxious to see them in the room and watch the show. But I said, Daddy, sometimes it's kind of mean in the play, but you know it's not for real.
Right.
So it's wonderful.
Now, I know you wanted to go into doing musical theater for quite a while.
Yes.
You
yes.
even, there was a rumor at one point you were going to come down to Toronto in another show earlier, I think in Crazy for You, they talked about
Oh yes,
that.
I was one of the finalists, but I think they had a problem with my accent because Bobby Child has, the principal, the character it's a guy who's from New York. So
Right.
imagine the French guy, I'm crazy for you. No, I'm just exaggerating here. But no, Mike Cochran seemed to like me, and he said, well, if I do it in French, you're the first choice I'm
Right.
going to make. Well, so that was about 8 years ago, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, a long time. And since then, and then after I came here, 9 months, I had acting classes, I had dancing classes. See, you must never stop. I went to New York to have some vocal coaching, and a guy, his name is Greg Drew, and he is the coach of heavy metal singers.
Right.
And you know, heavy metal singers, they're really in shape. People think they're into drugs. No, not all of them. You know?
Right.
And they have to train, and they have to scream every night. Well, they have to find a way to scream so they don't break their voices.
Right.
So, and this guy has a method, and it's wonderful. So that's what I learned. Because in musical business, you do 8 shows a week.
Right.
You have to be in shape. So I train every morning. I go to a club here, and so every morning I go and train. And you have to be healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what made you want to do musical theater quite so much?
Oh, I tell you why, because it's a passion. Really, really, truly it is. Because you have to deal with acting, you have to deal with dancing, you have to deal with singing, and you have to be funny also. It's not the case with the Phantom, of course. But all these aspects are just wonderful, so wonderful to explore. I would hate myself just be singing behind a mic. I have to, I don't know, I feel like I want to share something else. And this art form is just giving me so much, so much.
Have there ever been any of the musicals from the past you've really wanted to do? Like, what